Yes, guys, welcome back to Chasing Green Arrows. It's Tuesday. It's 5 p.m. So hello to everyone in the chat. If you're watching on catch up, you might not have expected a video today, but we thought it was only right to do our normal top of the week stream on Tuesday because loads had Isak, Bowen, maybe a Newcastle defender, and we didn't want to go before Monday Night Football. So we thought we would go after it. So hello to everyone watching on catch up. Hello to everyone watching live right at the top of the stream, just because it helps the algorithm. We've been waiting until 40 minutes in to say this, but we would love you to hit that like button. It just massively boosts us. And if you're not already subscribed, we're trying to get to 10K. I'm Gianni Dean. I'm joined by regular co-host all the way from San Diego, Fulham fan, and beating me in FPL this season, Mr. Dean Jones. Dean, how are you, mate?
I'm a bit under the weather, actually, mate. Quite literally, because it's raining in San Diego. But I tell you what, this stream would not have happened yesterday anyway. I could not talk. So I'm slowly getting my voice back. I don't sound great, but I'm alive. So that's good. My team's dying. My FPL team's dying. I've slipped down to 600k now. And it needs reviving. So from here out, mate, I'm going for it. Like, I'm not playing the safe bets. I'm going different approaches to you and Big Man, just to see how we can shake this all up.
I'm not playing safe either, mate. So we might have similar looking teams because for the last few weeks, I've been playing proper loose as well.
So good. That's tasty. That's tasty. We got 10 weeks here, mate. 10 big game weeks to go. And best part of the season, hopefully.
Blink twice if Gianni is making you do this against your will, Dean, says Jay. Off course. Love that. Thanks, Jay. Yeah, mate, I'm playing so loose. I took a 4-point hit for Ismail Assar and Dan Burn. And do you know what? Ismail Assar, oh, Dean, I love that. You're so used to my timing. You're like, Gianni's just started talking. I can take a swig. And for once, I wrapped up in 4 seconds.
You did, yeah. I thought, I'll get a kick, nurse my throat.
Sorry, I didn't look.
Star, mate. And as soon as he scored, I was pleased for you.
Oh, thanks, mate.
I was pleased for you.
And he, do you know what? He had something like 1.6 XG in the game. Like, he missed a big chance. And there was one time before the goal, Daniel Munoz steaming down the right. It's a 1-on-1. Daniel Munoz should score. He misses. Or he could square it to Sarr. Open goal tapping. I've got both those players.
Yeah, mate. Munoz, like that moment especially, I was like, oh my God. Like, that's crazy. I did all right out of Palace because I had Henderson. So that
nice one. 2 bonus points and 7 saves, I think. At the end of the game, Hendo had 3 bonus, Sarr had 2, and then they swapped. Again, it must have been like some little pass somewhere that added the difference. But the other part of my punting was Dan Burn. Last night, I'm listening to the radio on a drive home. I'm checking the score. I'm on the phone to someone, and I'm like, just tell me what the bonus points say for the Newcastle West Ham game. See, it was 1-0 with 10 minutes to go. And the person I was talking to was like, yeah, just checked. And she was like, it says Burn 31 and the next best is 29. I was like, oh my God, that means I was explaining bonus points to her. She thought it was amazing, really interesting. She plays FPL, but didn't know about bonus. I was like, that means he's on 3 bonus points. Amazing. I got home and Burn was on 25 and not in the BPS, all because he got a yellow card. So the yellow card, he lost however many BPS it is. I can't remember.
Extremely harsh, yeah.
And so he went from 8 to 5, but I'll still take my 5-pointer.
Mate, at least we didn't go Palmer captain.
Oh, man, we need to talk about that. Let us know in the chat if you went there.
I mean, that's killed some seasons, I think. That would have been... I was so relieved. Like, Salah just does what Salah does. 2 penalties, 30 points with the captain, and Palmer gets a 1-pointer. I mean, there's a bit of a dilemma for some people this week because, like, if you don't want a free hit, if you don't want a wild card, and you have got Palmer, like, at least he's actually playing this weekend, whereas loads of players aren't. So you think, well, maybe he finally gets some points. I mean, he doesn't look close to it, does he? He's even missing penalties now, mate. I mean, this is a sad state of affairs.
Yeah. I mean, what's your take with Palmer then? Do we look at him and think immediate sell? Because I do. I think unless you've already got Haaland, he is the cash cow you need to use to get Haaland in your team. And I think we need Haaland because I think he's the best captaincy option in 32. And I think in 33, Palmer is absolutely a key. Well, sorry, Haaland's a key cog. Sorry, in 30, I'm getting confused with my numbers. In 30, he's got Leicester, so we're gonna want Haaland. But look, let's talk about Palmer, Haaland in a sec. because we've got my game week 28 team. I just want to show it, and we'll show yours as well. The only reason I'm keeping so ridiculously structured on this show is because I'm writing down the timestamps, and I know if I do Palmer, then I can't go from review of 28 to Palmer back to review of 28 because that'll be messy. So that's on track. And guys, that'll be a sign of things to come. By the way, we're making a conscious effort to keep that structure. So if you're watching on catch up, we're less reactionary to someone's comment in the chat. We'll still bring it up and talk about it, but we'll put it in the right structure. So hopefully the catch-up views will increase. So look, 28, here's a quick look at my team. We'll only spend a couple of minutes on this, and then we'll get straight to Palmer and matters ahead. We're going to show a wildcard draft. We're going to show a free hit draft. So let's see my 28 just team today and see where I'm set. And let me just explain to you guys my chip strategy and why I've made the decision I've made. I'm happy taking hit. Well, that is going to be tricky to read. Do you know what? Don't matter. We're good. You don't need to see my 28. You can see my channel, or you can see Twitter or Instagram or whatever. So yeah, we're good. Should we go straight on to Palmer?
Yeah, let's do it.
Mate, he's an immediate sell, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I did look at trying to keep him for this week because I'm actually going to play. I've got 4 transfers in the bank. So I'm using those rather than wildcard or free hit. And so it doesn't really make sense for me to do anything but get rid of Palmer because when I'm on 4 transfers, I really want to be keeping Salah, obviously. So I'm going to ditch Palmer because Bruno Fernandes is just a much better pick for this week. Like, you want Fernandes for this away game with Leicester, especially if you're not wildcard and if you're not free hitting. You've got to cover yourself for the fact that everybody that is doing that is surely bringing in Bruno Fernandes. I mean, he's going to be one of the most transferred in players of the week, isn't he?
Yeah, I would assume so. Chris Wood will be one. Bruno is top. I'm just looking. 184,000 transfers in so far for Bruno. 160,000 for Wood. 120 for Kluivert. So they're the big 3.
So Wood will probably be the most owned player this week.
Yeah, and probably the most captained because his ownership's so high. I think they'll see Wood as the next best option if you can't get to Haaland. I think if you own Haaland, you cap him. If you don't own Haaland, you've got a big decision to make. Do you go Wood or a Kluivert or a Bruno? They're the 3 names that come to mind as potential captains. And Kluivert feels like it's sort of pushing, but the way he's playing and the way Bournemouth are attacking, maybe not. Bruno does what he does, we know, and Wood plays Ipswich.
Yeah, exactly that. So I think Bruno's kind of got to be brought in for me. I think I can get Haaland as well. I think I can get rid of Isak, get rid of Gakpo, get rid of Palmer. I can get rid of one more and kind of like pad it out so that I can bring in Haaland as the biggest hitter, bring Bruno in, and I'll have to bring in like Beto and AN other, who's probably about 4.5 to 5 million or something. And I can get around it. I think I'll probably be heading in that direction.
So you're 100% selling Palmer?
I'm 100% selling Palmer, yeah.
So
I mean,
in terms of transfers out, other than Lewis Hall, who's out for the season, Palmer is the second most transferred out player, and he's going to be dropping in price. 160 sales already. So we'll do a poll. Are you selling Palmer? Yes or no? Or will Palmer be in your 2019? Because the reason so many are keeping Palmer in terms of content creators, like Big Man's talking about selling Salah, not Palmer, is purely because Palmer has the fixture and Salah doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't like that, and I don't think you do either, right? Like, how many points is Palmer going to get versus Arsenal? 2?
Well, this is the thing, right? Even if he does get a penalty and score it this time, I don't feel like I'm missing out on that much. Like, Palmer's not going to Arsenal scoring a hat-trick, is he?
Is he?
No. So I feel like it's not a big loss at the moment. Bramjat has sent in a super chat. It says, triple captained Palmer stinker. Wildcard is on. Catch-up time. 115k, though. I mean, that's a bold call because obviously, like, we would have really shut up there if Palmer would have paid off. Obviously, it hasn't. And Maliki has just gifted 5 memberships to the channel. What a kind man you are.
Maliki, come on, fess up. Have you had a big Cheltenham win? Come on, let us know.
He's definitely been watching Cheltenham. I've seen him chatting about it all morning in the members group.
Maliki is, do you know, I bet he's good on the horses. Our resident Irish Chelsea fan, Maliki. So let us know. But mate, we really appreciate the super chats. And thank you so much from Bram Jot, because after triple captain in Palmer, to even send us money to tell us that, we would have, dude, that's very generous of you.
Very kind, thank you.
the rank's great, and the wildcard, mate. We're going to be showing you my wildcard team. I'm not doing it, but my wildcard draft later in the show. So that'll be with you in mind, dude. So stay tuned for that one. Of course, says Maliki, can you buy my art too? Of course, Jay, if you want to put your art website in the chat, you support us so much, we'd very happily promote that. So get it in. And we're also going to show you a free hit team. So stay tuned for both those things. On Cole Palmer, the voting so far is 55% of you will have him in your Game Week 29 team. Cole Palmer is still going to be highly owned. And I don't quite know why. Like when you look at those Chelsea fixtures moving forward, Dean, what's the thinking in term for those, do you think, as to why they would hold Cole Palmer? Because Spurs is a good fixture. Brentford's not a bad fixture. And Ipswich is a good fixture. But we have just seen really good fixtures. They've just played Leicester and Southampton, scored 5 goals, and Palmer wasn't involved in any.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're just hoping here that this... I mean, it's just very, very unlike Cole Palmer. So you're just assuming that this has to come to an end. But like, it's been an appalling run. I mean, it doesn't seem normal that this is just a run of form. You're thinking like, is something going on off the pitch here? Is there something else in his head? Has he got an injury that we don't know about? You know, this isn't ice cold Cole Palmer, is it? Like, we're seeing a completely different version here. And for a guy that we thought had one of the strongest mentalities in the league, it's being real tested right now. And I don't think it's wise to stick with him. I would even be taking a hit to get him out of my team at the moment, I think. But you're really just punting on him doing something that is impossible to really envisage right now, in order to catch everybody out and catch everybody cold and make up some rank. But it's a gamble. FPL fellas, I guess you're having Palmer or Haaland in a game week 29.
Yeah, that's what it is. You can only have one or the other pretty much for many. That's
it. And look, I don't think Haaland is a fantastic buy. Like, I don't think this is such a large spend on a player that hasn't been particularly good, and in a team that's not particularly good, in a fixture that's not particularly good. But in a game week like this, that's not particularly good.
Yeah,
it's about as good as you can get. That's the weird thing about the situation that we're in right now. And if Haaland does get a couple of goals, which is definitely feasible, and people have captained him, and you're on Palmer and he doesn't score, then you're out the game almost. Like, you've fallen behind massively in that moment, particularly if you did captain Palmer last game week instead of Salah. That on the back of that is hugely significant. So Peter says Brighton have won 6 games in a row. Brighton are looking good at the moment. Like, they're going through one of their good spells. But Brighton have been through some dodgy spells too. And Brighton aren't going to win every game from here on out, right? Man City are in a situation whereby they've got to be winning games or they're not getting in the Champions League next season.
Yeah, it's competitive.
Yesterday, TalkSport did a poll. Will Man City make the top 8? What are you talking about? Of course they're going to make the top 8. They might not make the top 5, but the top 8 surely isn't in question here. So
that's mad that they did that poll, by the way.
I know. I mean,
they're going to make the top 5. So
I
assume asking the question they're going to make the top 8 is bonkers. Like,
TalkSport being TalkSport, I think they're just trying to be a little bit controversial. But I think when you look at the league table right now, Mo, Nottingham Forest are going to make the Champions League. Nottingham Forest are the team that have the best run-in. Nottingham Forest are a much better pick in terms of clean sheets, in terms of getting results, in terms of assets. Nottingham Forest is the place we should all be looking. Yeah. So if I was wildcarding, I would 100% have 3 Nottingham Forest assets in there.
I've made a bit of a howler on my wildcard because, as you've said this, I've gone, oh my God, why I've only put 1 in. I did a bit. I'll show you later. Let's just stick on Haaland for the time being, and then let's move to that, because you're right on Forest. We need to discuss it. With Haaland himself, is Brighton not? I know Brighton their form's been good, but how do you see that fixture playing out? Because the fact it's at the Etihad makes me think actually Man City are going to dominate possession. They're going to create chances. And they've got a full week on the training ground. I know Brighton will have 2, but no Champions League now for Man City. I know they just went to the City ground and lost, but a lot of teams do that. I think they were always going to have a tough game there at the City ground. Brighton's the sort of fixture because Brighton will have a go. I think that's an all right fixture for them. I mean, Brighton, they went to the City ground not long ago and lost 7-0. Like, that was a kamikaze set up by Herzler on the day. He played João Pedro and Rutter as number 8s. But
yeah,
they can be vulnerable. Like, that has happened this season. I remember them going to Stamford Bridge earlier in the season under Herzler, and I think they lost 4-2. Like, they can have those mad games. 4-2 defeat at Stamford Bridge, 7-0 defeat at Nottingham Forest. I'm not saying it's a gimme, and of course it's a close game on paper, but I think on my free hit, I'm definitely going double City. I might even go triple City and Haaland captain. Like, I fancy Man City this week. Anyone else with me, Dean?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I saw that you were doing that, and I think it's brave. I mean, who are the 3?
I mean, there's two.
Foden.
There's 2 that make it not brave. It's Haaland and Guardiola. They're the bankers.
That's fine.
Going for 3 might make it stupid more than brave, right? I hear you, because we don't even know who's going to start. I can't bank on a Phil Foden start.
No.
He might go Mahmoud. He might go neither. He might go De Bruyne out of nowhere. I'm relying on a team leak because they are the 3 o'clock league in terms of team. We get news. So if I hear De Bruyne starting, I'll pick him. If we hear Foden starting, I'll pick him. If we don't hear on a start, I'm not going to risk it because it's too. Even Savio's been player of the month of late. He starts every game, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was benched out of nowhere. So I can't gamble, but I'm definitely going Guardiola and I'm definitely going Haaland.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, Savino's the kind of banker for minutes, but there's just no FPL credit there to go and pick him. Marmoush is, if I was going to take a gamble, I'd probably go Marmoush, but he didn't start the other day, which we said the other day was almost unthinkable. So unless he's got a knock, that's pretty strange. Matt Perry says, Dean, tell the truth. Haaland is not the option for best captaincy. It depends who else you've got, doesn't it? Because there aren't many other options. Chris Wood probably is a better option for captaincy, but if you've got an asset that's worth nearly £15 million and you're not captaining him at home to Brighton, you're taking a bit of a risk in itself. So I don't fully trust Man City. I wouldn't go for 3 Man City assets. I'd probably go for 2. But they've got, 10 games now to go and transform what has been a really poor season, 10, 11 games. And they've got to make sure that they're in that top 5. So I'm looking at this now and I'm thinking, do we want Liverpool and Arsenal assets? I'm not really sure anymore. Obviously, you want Salah. He may have 1 or 2 around those 2 clubs. But I think it's become really inconsistent, especially if Liverpool stay in the Champions League, as to what their lineups are going to be, because they basically won the league now. Arsenal have just become undependable. So I think you're better off looking at Forest, looking at Man City, looking at Newcastle, looking at Brighton, because they've got so much to play for and so much upside with their performances. That's where I'm veering with it. And that's why, again, as I say, for me, Nottingham Forest are the team to get on. Somebody said in the chat a second ago, their away form is iffy. Look, I'm not worried about Nottingham Forest here. Like, when you look at their run-in, so many of their games are against teams basically bottom half of the table.
And they've got good home bankers in there as well, by the way.
I heard a stat, I haven't checked this out, so it might be wrong. But yesterday I heard a stat on the radio that said Forest have beaten 10 of the 11 teams that they've got left to play, or something like that. They've got Forest fans are convinced that they're not going to fall away here. They're understand why you would doubt us here. Understand that it might look like we're a bit patchy, but we're not. This is how we play. There might be fine margin wins, but considering the fixtures that we've got left, there is every reason to believe that Forest will complete the task here and finish 3rd in the league. And I was listening to it. I was thinking, do you know what? You're right. So who's my 3rd Forest asset? I've got Ole Aina. I've got Chris Wood. Am I going for Gibbs
double
White?
Defense or double attack?
Yeah, exactly. Am I going for Gibbs White or Hudson-Odoi, or am I going for Tales or Murillo?
Yeah. I mean, you're right about forget there's 10 games left, 5 are at home. You could lose all those away games. You win those 5 home games and you're getting Champions League football, right? Straight away, you get those 15 points. So the home games are Man United. I can see them winning that. Everton, I can see them winning that. Brentford, I can see them winning that. Leicester, they'll win that. And then it's Chelsea on the final day. Let's see what Chelsea have to play for.
Doesn't really matter,
But like, I absolutely am there for Forest, and they've just been brilliant. I do prefer. I know Chris Wood's been amazing, but just because the underlying data has not been great or whatever, I do prefer the defenders in terms of just guaranteed points, because they've kept more clean sheets than anyone. I think they've probably conceded the fewest goals. There's the premium. So many have got Gabriel because they're scared of selling him, because apparently he scores a header every week that he doesn't. Gabriel's just been so rubbish for points, like of late.
He has been, mate. He's going.
When I sold Gabriel in game week 20, I was pretty damn nervous. I knew I was selling a very good asset, and he's still a good asset. Don't get me wrong. I might buy him back on Wildcard.
Yeah.
But Christ, since then he's had like 2 clean sheets in 10 weeks or something. It's been bad.
It's been bad, yeah.
So let me give you another team to target then, because you mentioned a few. Brighton should get the double game week in 33, and they've got some good players and good fixtures. Brighton, that's going to be a common theme in my Wildcard. I know it's City this week, but moving after that, I like Brighton, and I think Matoma's obviously great. I think Minter might have a big end to the season. He's getting the starts now. He started the last 5 on the right-hand side, and I think he's needed that consistency of start. I think the points will flow. After City, it's Villa, Palace, Leicester, Brentford, West Ham. It's a great run-in. And the other team we've got to discuss is Bournemouth, because Chelsea were playing at the same time as Spurs Bournemouth, but on English TV, Chelsea weren't being shown. So on Sky, I watched Brentford Spurs, and I listened to the Chelsea game whilst I was watching the Brentford Spurs game. Andy Bruce Ball, one of my favourite commentators to listen to on the radio, so I was happy to listen to Chelsea. I didn't have Palmer captain. But, mate, Bournemouth are so good. Like, that was never a 2-2. Like, Bournemouth are so fun, and they create so many chances. And Evan-Nilsson and Kluivert, that link-up, that duo, is going to be really dangerous, I think, for the run-in, because Kluivert's now a second striker, isn't he? Yep. And it works for him with Evan-Nilsson. I love their chemistry, and those two are dangerous. Then you add Semenyo and Tavernier when he's good. Like, it's a fun attack.
It is a fun attack, yeah. I like having Kluivert as an asset. I've been really pleased to have him in my team. I'm not going to be turning my back on Chris Wood at this stage. He's done too well for me, and in the weeks when people have lost faith in him and I've stuck by him, he's done pretty well for me. And at the moment, I've got to consider who I'm going to be getting back in. Am I going to get Isak back in? Maybe. I've still got the free hit in my back pocket. I've still got the wild card in my back pocket. I've still got the assistant manager chip to play too. So I need to find a way of combining all those to best effect. And that's why I'm using these 4 free transfers this week rather than starting to play those chips. It buys me a little bit of time, and hopefully helps me bounce back from a few dead game weeks, really. FPL Freddie asked when I'm going to wildcard. Yeah, I've got to time it so that I get the assistant manager chip right. So yeah, we'll come out of this game week, and then I'll see exactly where I'm at with that. But yeah, people keep telling us, I see Matt Perry keep saying that I need to talk you out of Haaland, mate, in terms of picking him. Is there any chance of you not picking Haaland?
God, no, I'm on free hit. Like, I'd be mad. And there's no one on free hit not picking Haaland. Like, there's an argument to say you don't need to pick Haaland in your actual team, and you stick with Palmer and Salah if that's your flavour, because Palmer has got some good fixtures coming up. But so's Haaland, and he's the obvious captain pick for definitely 29. But in 30, it's going to be really interesting, because most aren't free hitting. They are going to buy Haaland engaged managers. I always think, what will Big Man be doing? Because Big Man's going to be doing what the vast majority of the other content creators are doing, because there's a template there, and Big Man's first to say he's pretty template. So by the way, guys, spoiler alert, Big Man on his 50-50 call, Palmer Salah captain, obviously captain Salah. It was interesting for a while. I'm going to push him on Wednesday. Tomorrow, tune in to Chasing Green Arrows to find out if he was ever actually going to. I just wanted to be interesting for a while. Yeah. I wanted to be interesting. He's always interesting in my eyes, but I waffled there. I don't know what my point was. It was about Haaland. Game week 30, who's going to be the go-to captain? Will it be Salah at home to Everton? Or will it be Haaland at home to Leicester? If Haaland bangs in 29, probably be Haaland at home to Leicester. That is the better fixture. But Salah's Salah, and we can't forget that. Mate, let's talk about captaincy for this week early on. And we'll talk more on Friday, and we'll show our teams on Friday. And then we'll get to the wildcard and free hit teams. So captaincy this week, if you're not going Haaland, where do you go? Let's just discuss 3 candidates: Wood, Kluivert, Bruno. How do we rank those 3? Let's assume We're not taking Haaland in. We'd all captain Haaland if we own him. Let's go for Wood, Bruno, and Kluivert and rank them.
So Chris Wood away to Ipswich, Kluivert home to Brentford, Bruno away to Leicester. I've got to look at reliability here. And so Nottingham Forest against one of the worst teams in the league, third from top three, third from bottom. Chris Wood, one of the best players in the game so far this season. I'd have to go for him as my number one out of those three. And then out of Kluivert and Bruno, I think Kluivert has the edge. One, he's got the home fixture. Two, when you look at him, it's just all action and like there's so much threat there. Obviously, Bruno is like also the all action superhero for Man United at the moment.
Yeah.
But it's a little less reliable because he hasn't really got any help around him. He's having to do it all himself and like, you know, take the corners, take the free kicks, take the penalties, run things from midfield, start deep, end up attacking. He's literally got to do it all. And he's been doing a really good job for it, but can't do that every single week. It's not sustainable. So my ranking would be, if I don't go Haaland, Chris Wood captain. If not for Chris Wood, then Kluivert. And if not for Kluivert, then Bruno Fernandes. But for me, the best thing about my team for this week is that I'll have all four of those players. I'll have Haaland, I'll have Wood, I'll have Kluivert, and I'll have Bruno.
Love that. And Burmo would be another name just to chuck in there because
I'll have him Burmo.
Yeah, he's away from home. I don't know. Bournemouth is
tough
so
fixture.
good.
Yeah.
I'm probably picking a Burmo on free hit, but I'm not expecting much, and that's probably more of a shield pick. Okay, the chat are with you with Wood at 1. The chat think Bruno 2 and Kluivert 3. But we know we have a lot of Man United fans watching. Sorry, Man United fans. I don't mean that, but I'm actually going to say Bruno 1 just to try and get some love from the United fans. Genuinely though, Bruno got 17 points against Leicester in game week 11. I've done very little right this season, but I did happen to own Bruno in that week. I just bought him, and I think I got a return maybe in 10 and 11. And I stupidly sold him at the wrong point. But I fancy Bruno versus Leicester. Just as a fixtures play, Leicester are so vulnerable. Like it's target Leicester and target Southampton. And yes, you can target Ipswich and go Wood. But I target Leicester and Southampton at a different scale to Ipswich at the moment. And it's unfortunately the team playing Southampton is Wolves and there's no Cunha. So it will just be one Wolves player on my free hit. But I'm going to go Bruno number 1. The midweek fixture scares me a little bit with United. I'd prefer they didn't have one. Let's see how they look. But Bruno, so unlucky not to brace versus Arsenal. That save from right at the end was amazing. I'm going to go Kluivert 2, which I know is controversial here because I'm putting Wood at 3. The reason Kluivert, firstly, is at 2 is Bournemouth are flying and Kluivert, non-owners, got away with it against Spurs. He should have hauled. He was amazing. And Brentford always give you big chances. Brentford give you proper big chances. They create big chances, but they concede big chances. Chris Wood, I love him as an option against Ipswich. He'll be my free hit team. I don't see him as captainable because the ceiling. When I captain a player, is he going to get me? Is there a realistic chance of 2-3 goals? Now, don't get me wrong. Chris Wood got like 17 points not long ago. Of course he can. But more often than not, we see this season Chris Wood on a 9-pointer. It's a single goal and 3 bonus points. Now, 9 pointers are great, and I'd be happy with 9. But I see Bruno and I see Kluivert, and I see assists and goals, and the option or the potential of a 2 or 3 game return. And whilst Wood can do that, Wood and Bruno have both had 4 double-digit returns this season, by the way. I fancy Wood just to get the 1 against Ipswich. These less explosive and Forest, the way they're playing, I feel like 1-0 wins are going to be quite regular for the run-in.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're right. But I mean, like, if Wood does get the 1 goal and he gets the bonus and he's your captain, in a game week like this, I don't mind it. You're right to question like his haul potential. I mean, there's only been 2 occasions this season that Chris Wood has scored more than 1 goal in a game in the Premier League, which is quite surprising. To be honest, he got 3 against Brighton and he got 2 goals against Leicester, but all of his other games have just been 1 goal. He's been very consistent in terms of getting 1 goal, but, you know, he's got 18 goals from 28 Premier League games. What I also like about Wood is he doesn't miss many minutes, you know, like he's usually out there. If he gets subbed, it's usually not before the 80th minute.
True.
So they're giving him every opportunity to be out there. So in a game like this against Ipswich, Forest have played Ipswich once this season. They beat them 1-0. Chris Wood scored the goal. He was out there for the full 90. That's, that for me, that's a better argument to put forward that he can get 10, 12 points this game week as a captain than Kluivert or Bruno.
Yeah, fair point. I mean, FPL Have a Beer said something along the lines of, Wood could definitely get a brace against Ipswich. Or hat-trick. Of course he could. Of course he can. Of course he can. But... It's more. And by the way, if you don't subscribe to FPL Have a Beer, check him out. He does interviews with content creators, like longer form ones. Really good. So check out his page and hit the subscribe button on his channel. And thanks for watching, dude. I don't think you're usually in the chat. So yeah, welcome along. Thanks for subscribing as well. I know if you're in the chat, you got to be subbed. So you must have. My point is just that Kluivert and Bruno could also do the same. And I feel like they're more explosive. But on bonus points, we have to remember with bonus points, you're competing with your teammates. And the brilliant thing about Nottingham Forest is they don't pick up BPS. So when Wood, the defenders pick up some tackles, blocks, and interceptions, but don't always get the passing stats right or completion right or have enough passes to get big bonus. Unless the defenders pick up a goal or an assist, they're not guaranteed bonus. Unless, if it's a 1-0 win and a clean sheet, it usually goes Wood, and then it's like Milenkovic, Murillo, or Sells. But Wood, for the goal, gets 20-odd BPS. Therefore, he mops up because they're low-scoring games. If Forest are winning 4-0 and Wood gets 1 goal and 3 other players get goals and assists, he's got an issue. But that doesn't happen much. So Wood, when he scores, they're not 4-point goals. They're 7-point goals, and he gets 9 pointers. We have to remember that.
Yeah. Just saw a comment talking about the hauls that he has got so far. Callum says Wood's had 4 double-digit hauls and 5 9-pointers. I mean, the only other, when he gets assists as well as his goals, I mean, it's only happened on 2 occasions that he's got both in the same game week. Everton, he scored and assisted, and Southampton, he scored and assisted. So, good question. I'm not sure. On the list I've got, it doesn't actually say.
Oh, sorry.
Actually, here we go. Yeah, Southampton was at home and Everton was away, so 1 each. So Ipswich, obviously, you can put into the same bracket as both those teams. So, okay, let's raise the bar a little bit here and say Chris Wood gets a goal and an assist in a 2-0 win this weekend. Is that enough for you to captain him? Possibly, but again, this is why I think it is important to go for Haaland, because he does have more potential. He does have potential to get the 2 goals or more. And so that's why I'll be bringing him in, because I want Wood and I'll be keeping Wood, but I don't necessarily want him as my captain. I'd rather take the risk on getting in Haaland in a week where I haven't got Salah playing, I haven't got Isak playing, I'm getting rid of Cole Palmer. These are big players to go missing. And I just want a big player in there that has these possibilities.
Yeah, fair play. Guys, thank you for all your comments in the chat. As always, I would love to do this. We do this for some reason at 39 minutes past the hour every show. Every show, it gets to the point in the show at 39 or 40 where my brain just goes, you've been recording for 40 minutes, and other than the first 30 seconds, I've not mentioned likes and subscribe. So here we are, 40 minutes in. Please hit the buttons if you feel like it. We're desperate to get to 10,000 subs by the end of the season. If you don't ask, you don't get. So this is an appeal from Dean and I and all those at Chasing Green Arrows to support the stream in one way, shape or form. And the best way of doing that, and I know many of you are, but there's about 25% of you watching that aren't subscribed. If 5% of you are convinced to do it in today's show, that'd be awesome. And do hit it with the notification bell. We're obviously streaming at a slightly different hour today. We'll be live with Big Man tomorrow on Wednesday. That's normal. And then on Friday, Big Man, by the way, former world number 4, you want to be watching his show and his team selection. He's using free transfers this week. And then on Friday, the 3 of us will all be revealing our teams. And I'll be doing Friday's show live from Stockley Park, which is always a bit of fun.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah. Very good. Very good. Yeah, where's our subscribe graphic gone? That's a good question. Stick up that subscribe graphic if we've got it, producer.
Hey. Up every minute. I don't have to mention it for that.
There we go.
That's
exactly.
So cool. Get it.
Let's get a bit more of that up, and then we don't have to talk about it anymore in this show, because when you're watching, particularly on a rerun, you don't really want to hear it. Where do you want to go next, mate? Now that we're doing timestamp
or Wildcard, where should we go first? Let's show these two teams.
Go free hit first, because that's what you're doing.
Yeah. And I think free hit is the better chip to play this week. Just want to introduce this with, if you're free hitting now, you can't be wildcarding in a week or two, right? If you're wildcarding now, you can't be free hitting in a week or two. For me, they have to be played quite far apart. One is to navigate this period. The other should be navigated, I think, in 33, which will be a big double, and 34, which will be a big blank. The reason we need to navigate 33 and 34 with one of those chips is you simply can't have a good team for 33 and 34. The teams that double in 33 blank in 34. So you need a chip to move between 33 and 34. That can be a wild card. It will be for me. It can be a free hit. It will be for most of you. The vast majority are on the template chip strategy, which is no free hit this week, dead end your team, wild card in 2 weeks, and then free hit later when I just mentioned. I am free hitting. I want to play differently. I'm chasing. I'm having a bad season at 700k. I need to play differently, and I need to go against the obvious. Therefore, my chip strategy, I mentioned playing loose, is consciously different to everyone else's, even though I don't think this chip strategy is any better. In fact, I'd argue it's marginally worse, but it works for my team. So this is where I'm at, and this will change a lot. This will not be my team on Friday, but as things stand, I'm on triple Man City. I'm on triple Forest. I'm only on single Bournemouth and single Brentford. That game, I think, will have goals, but I think Bournemouth win it. And I would love Evan Nilsson is my first sub. I would love Evan Nilsson in, but it's between Evan Nilsson and Gibbs White. And then, yeah, I'm going double Man United. I could even be going triple Man United. Dean, I want your take.
Are you getting Joshua Zirkzee in?
Garnacho is who I'm keen on.
Oh, is it?
Genuinely.
His end product does worry me.
I love an average position map. He's obviously going to be super high and advanced on the right-hand side.
He gets so many chances. He just doesn't make the right choice. And
he just can't hit a barn door, but,
No,
Leicester will give him those chances. And I love XG.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I laugh about Zirkzee, but it wouldn't surprise me if Zirkzee does actually score in the next game week, and I think he's heading in the right direction. I would probably go Mazraoui over Dalot if it was me.
Would you? I was going to ask you about that, because I know, one, you like him, but two, at the weekend gone, he was more advanced than Dalot.
Yeah. I just think he's better, to be honest.
Yeah. But in terms of attacking output, you think he's better still?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously not that much in it. So,
I don't like either.
Neither of them are completely convincing.
Leicester haven't scored in 3 months, so I've got to go for a United defender.
Yeah, but I do think there's not many game weeks that we're going to be looking to get more than one Man United player in our team. This is the one week that I think you can consider it. I'm torn really over how I see this weekend going for Man United on the back of the protest and then all the interviews that have been given, the new stadium announcement, which I'm not totally convinced is ever going to happen, but we'll see. Does that all out, they're trying to build up to something positive, does that all fall apart and they actually lose at Leicester? And it's oh my God, they're never going to be able to build a new stadium because they'll never get out of debt. Or are they here we go, this is the start of things, and they go and beat Leicester 3-0 and it's all nice and easy. It doesn't usually happen for Man United that way anymore. But Leicester are really poor. And Ruud van Nistelrooy, for all the intent he's got, isn't that convincing that he can do it with this set of players. So I think personally, would I cap it at 2? Probably. I think
would you, even though it's Leicester?
Even though it's Leicester.
I could go double United defence.
I would more be inclined to go double United defence than I would be to go Garnacho, to be honest.
Mazraoui and Dalot, maybe. Get the wing-backs in.
Wow.
I mean, the wing-backs that don't attack, though. I love a wing-back. Ain't Norrie's in the team. But United wing-backs
not the same,
play like full-backs, other than, the new lad who, unfortunately, Dorgu's suspended, doesn't help, because Dorgu would be in. Yeah,
Dorgu would be in. That would have been a good pick for this week.
No, it would have been. I found it would have been a great pick for this week.
It would have been a world where we had Amad Diallo available and Dorgu available this week. Man United, we'd have been all over it, but it is difficult to know how to counter this team. Mohit says, aren't we discounting how United perform against Leicester, considering they play a season-changing physical game against Real Sociedad on Thursday?
Yeah, Thursdays is an issue. I mean, I guess it's a Sunday fixture for United, but yeah, it's not ideal. It's actually Sunday at 7 p.m. from memory. Weird kickoff time on a Sunday.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, really late. Gives them a few more hours to get over the Real Sociedad. I think it's Real Sociedad at Old Trafford, though, isn't it? They've been to Spain already, which helps, so they're not travelling. Leicester haven't been scoring goals, but yeah, it would be so Man United for Leicester to finally score.
Yeah.
What do we think of Man City? Because I'm definitely going Guardiola and Haaland. Do we like, and let me know in the chat, I'm not going Foden unless I hear he starts, but we will hear a sexy Man City midfielder starts, and it will be either De Bruyne or Foden. And there'll be a leak on it because it's big news because they're the two that people care about. Other than Haaland, I would love it to be De Bruyne. If De Bruyne starts, but he just ain't getting the starts. De Bruyne hasn't started a Premier League game in ages.
No, I mean, he's going to be out here with me in San Diego before you know it, mate. His Man City days are numbered.
Does Pep need him, though, to get some wins under the belt so they don't finish 8th?
Is it helping? I don't know. I mean, that's the question you got to do. Has De Bruyne got the legs anymore to compete with a midfield like Brighton's?
It's a dynamic midfield, to be fair, isn't it?
That's what he's got to. I mean, who else is he pairing De Bruyne with in there? Obviously, since he's signed Gonzalez, like they've had a bit more of an engine in there, but it depends on like Gundogan and Kovacic because there are limitations there as to what you can do and who you compare De Bruyne actually with at the moment. You know, the positive of De Bruyne is obviously his vision and how quickly he can pick a pass when he does see it, and it would give that outlet. City do like to go direct still. You know, they will go either through Edison or through a midfielder, just straight through the middle for Haaland to get onto it and try to go one-on-one with the keeper. So I can see that. But in terms of an actual threat for points, Marmoush is the one that could actually be the one that comes up with the points. That's the problem. Yeah. And he's just not a very easy pick in this game because you don't want 2 City forwards. And also, you don't exactly know what position he's actually going to be picking up in the team.
Yeah. I mean, if we hear it's Marmoush that starts and we don't hear a Foden or De Bruyne link, I could go Marmoush. I mean, the players that are locked on this team, Gvardiol, Aït-Nouri, and a United defender. So it probably will be my back 3. It could be Mazraoui, whatever. Those 3 are locked. Sells, the goalkeeper spot. I don't know if I go Pickford. Pickford's in my actual team, which makes it hard selling. Like, I could go Raya. I like Pickford, Raya, and Sells. Bruno's nailed and Burmo's nailed and Kluivert's nailed. But the Gibbs-White spot could be Evan-Nilsson. And the Foden spot could be Marmoush. Or it could be Garnacho as a white, like, proper rogue punt. Or it could be Xerxes. And then Haaland and Wood are nailed. So I've got 2 attackers to pick. It could be forwards or midfielders, or one of each. It could be 2 midfielders or one of each. Is it Gibbs-White or Foden, or is it any of the names I've just mentioned? And then it's the goalkeeper. So it's the Gibbs-White spot, the Foden spot, and the Sells spot are up for grabs.
Yeah,
I mean, feel like Gibbs-White.
I like Gibbs-White. I think that's a decent pick.
More than Evan-Nilsson?
I do think that like there's a consideration to go 3-4-3, and it's just the third forward. Like it would have to be a gamble, and it would be like Xerxes, Marmoush, somebody like that, or Evan-Nilsson. I guess you could stick with. I think 3-4-3 might be the way forward though, rather than gamble on a Man City midfielder. I don't really like the Man City midfielder pick because they've just not been reliable at all.
I think Haaland captain's enough.
I think Haaland captain's enough. You've got Gvardiol in there who could come up with attacking points himself, right? He's done that on more than enough occasions this season. So I think Gvardiol's a good pick for this game week on a free hit. But let's not forget that Brighton are at least 50% of the time a better team than Man City at the moment.
Fair.
No, and they can go to Etihad and win. So like, it's not even a bad shout to stick, I don't know, Minte in your team instead of Foden, just to counter it.
Oh yeah, but I've got Gvardiol. I don't want to.
I know you don't. I understand. Yeah, but like, there's as much argument you could make for bringing in Minte. Yeah, probably a better argument. Yeah, than to
pick one on free hit. We've done a poll: Evan-Nilsson or Gibbs-White. That's going to be a 50-50.
Yeah. Where am I going?
Oh, okay, maybe not. I'm really surprised by that.
Wow, Evan-Nilsson smashing it. I mean, I voted Gibbs-White, but
I mean, say me too.
I'm just
okay. I mean, it could be both, and then Foden's dropped. Like, it could just be both, and then I have them both in my team. Like, I don't quite know about Nottingham Forest away from home at Ipswich. I just see it being a 1-0 win. I just see it being FPL have a beer says, is Evan Nilsson now nailed? FPL have a beer. I'm delighted to have said at the start of last week, Evan Nilsson was nailed and Dango was a hard sell. And for those that watch Friday stream with Big Man, I told him as much. And shock, yeah, Dango was benched. I sold Dango on a hit. Dango was never getting in the 11 at the weekend. The starting front line at Bournemouth was so easy to predict. They'd done the same in the FA Cup. Evan Nilsson's now 4 games back from his injury. Game 1, didn't get off the bench. Game 2, got 10 minutes. Game 3, got 67. And then game 4 was the weekend just gone, where I guess he got about 40. Evan Nilsson was bought to be the number 9, come straight into the 11.
Yeah.
Dango could end up playing like anywhere or being first sub or first attacking sub on the pitch. I think there's a suspension in the FA Cup, maybe, or is coming where he could even play left back. But yeah, Evan Nilsson's absolutely nailed. Although he might not be playing 90, won't be playing 90. Yeah, Evan Nilsson costs 50 million. He'll never be benched as Maliki. Yeah, fair point.
If you had the option to use 10 men or free hit, do you think there's an argument that you could get away with it this week?
Absolutely. I'd play 9 and not free hit. I do not think this is a good week to free hit.
No.
I am free hitting because of all the stuff I've been able to do around it, which has worked for my team. I got to bring in Sarr and Burn for 17 points because I committed to free hit. But if you're getting to game week 29 and you're going, I still don't know what to do. I was never going to free hit, but now I'm tempted. Don't do it. To maximize free hit 29, that was weeks ago. Like, it's the weeks leading up to it to commit to a team of Newcastle, Villa, Liverpool, and Palace players, which I've got because they don't play and they've got good fixtures moving forward and they've done all right for points. So even if it means getting 9 out or 10 out with a 4-point hit, I don't mind because it's a 2-point hit, not a 4-point hit. If you look at the appearance points, that old cliche. Yeah, it's fine. You can't have the optimal team every week. And this doesn't feel like a high upside free hit. We're all looking at my team now going, I don't think Gianni's going to make much on my team. And I probably won't. Like, I don't think I do. It's not a fun free hit week. The ceiling is low.
Yeah. Would you, Matthew Perry asked a question, would you take a -4 to get Palmer out and Bruno in?
Yeah, I think so. If it enables a Haaland, yeah, definitely. I mean, that's 4 million in the bank, so that should enable another massive move elsewhere, like a Haaland, Isak to Haaland or whatever. And if it does, I'd make it. If it didn't, as a standalone, no. But it depends when you're wildcarding, because I do think moving forward, Man United have got rubbish fixtures and Palmer's got good ones. Like, I don't know how long I'd want Bruno for.
Yeah, I think he's wildcarding next week anyway. So
yeah. But I mean, look, the ceiling's good for Leicester, as we mentioned, 17 points. But then he goes to the City ground in 30, Bruno. So we can't expect goals from every week. He's 8.5, not for a reason, because he's not a premium anymore. He's at times delivers like a premium, but he's not. Oh, Maliki, great WhatsApp group. Good stuff, guys. If you want to check out that, you can see the join button below.
Yeah. Become a member. They've been chatting all sorts in there today. I've seen the chats mainly talking about Cheltenham all morning until they were getting into this FPL. Now I can see it's going off as they're all chatting about their FPL team. So yeah, join up as a member and join the WhatsApp group, and you'll never be short of somebody to talk to about FPL. I can assure you of that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move to wildcard, shall we? Guys, thank you for all your comments on free hit. As I mentioned, I really don't think it's an amazing free hit team at all. I've not been a fan of it for a while. I'm doing it because it works. I actually prefer free hit to wildcard, though. This ain't a fun wildcard team. Like, I don't look at this team and go, this is a team I want to finish the season with.
No.
But if I was making a wildcard team, fair play, I've missed out. I definitely have more Forest in here. That's the error for doing a rush wild card. If you could, and Enzo is in there because I only had like 4.8 to spend on those.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, once you do get to that point, like I might be at that situation this week when I'm messing around my 4 transfers.
Yeah,
Enzo might actually come into my team just because he's probably the best you could get at that point.
And he'll be on you. Look, that is the perfect 8th attacker. Like, he plays because he's got a fixture. It doesn't give you a benching headache every week. You can just bench Enzo every week because at that price you can. And remember, he would be your 8th attacker. But let me just talk through my thinking as to how I made this. And anyone on wildcard should consider, who are the players that are blanking that you feel like you have to have in your squad, i.e. your bench this week. So which players from Villa, Newcastle, Palace and Liverpool do you feel like you want to have for the rest of the season? And let's say you can only have 3 of them and a goalkeeper because you need to get 11 out this week. Dean, do you agree with me? Salah, Isak, Munoz from those teams, like Munoz, Palace's best asset, Newcastle, Isak's best asset. You need one of each because they double in 32.
You do, yeah.
And then Salah because he's Salah. And then you could obviously go for one more from those teams in Henderson because you've got 2 goalkeepers.
Yeah, exactly. It looks weird, obviously, and it will feel weird to do a wild card and have all those players on the bench, but you're going to need them. So if you're wild carding, you need a team that's going to make you competitive for this week, but you've got to be prepared. And those 3 are the best backups, like without doubt. Like I regret not having Munoz for the last, 6-7 weeks. And Isak and Salah need to come back into everybody's team. So even though I'm using these 4 free transfers at the moment, I'm very aware that it's not really a long-term play. I've got to be switching it up soon with my chips so that I can get particularly Muniz and Isak into the team.
Yeah. Guys, thank you for all your comments in the chat, by the way. I know we can't show them all, but we genuinely read them all. And it's so lovely to see our chat so active for the number of viewers we get. I always feel like our chat is proper insightful. So if you are watching on catch up, do come in and watch the live shows when you can. They're so much fun. And if you hit the notification bell, you'll know when we're doing that. Barca 1-0 up, says Freddie. Who got the goal, Freddie? I've got Lewandowski captain. And I've also got Yamal and Rafinha in my team. So, yeah, let me know. I could just click on BBC Sport right now, but it's fun to ask. Rafinha goal, Yamal assist. I've got them both. Come on.
There you go.
Right. Rest of the wild card. Bournemouth are a team I want. Like, the fixtures are great. I've gone triple Bournemouth. Hill is like 3.9. So, again, an enabler. But Kluivert and Semenyo, 2 great picks. I like Evan Nilsson, but I just couldn't squeeze him in because I feel like you have to have Wood and you have to have Haaland. And we mentioned Isak there.
Oh, yeah. Kluivert and Semenyo the way forward for sure.
So those 2. Minter we've spoken about already. The defence looks rubbish. I'm like, who's going to be my premium defender? Gvardiol, yes, but can I have 2?
Would you get rid of Gabriel, though? Do you need Gabriel in there anymore?
It's just the Arsenal fixtures. I look at their running and I see quite a few clean sheets, I think. Now, remember, I don't have him in match.
Isn't there a cheaper way into the Arsenal defence than Gabriel?
Go Timber, but then does Ben White into some of those Timber minutes?
Yeah,
Timber's 5.6. Saliba's and Gabriel, there's only 0.1 between them. Or you just go Raya and you save 0.8 and you get the same clean sheet points if you go Raya. So
yeah, Raya's not a bad shout, because he's going to play. And even if they stay in the Champions League, that's not changing. They're going to keep playing Raya,
And actually, he is clocking saves this season because last year you go, Raya's rubbish because you only get a 6-point ceiling because Arsenal don't concede chances. Actually, Arsenal are conceding chances now, and he's making saves.
Well, he made that late save against Man United, didn't he? Which was a great one.
Did he I wonder if he got 2 saves for that. He should have.
I wondered that. I wondered how that affected his points for the week. I don't know anyone that's got him, so I didn't see. But
that second one is like clawing it off the line of his rebound, so it should count as a save. Wan-Bissaka, again, he's cheap, but I've targeted teams that should double in 33. So West Ham should, Brighton should, Bournemouth should. That's because of the FA Cup. So again, there's a lot of doublers in 33. I'd be using a few free transfers, though, to get more Palace and Newcastle in, I think. Benfica goal. Thanks, Maliki.
Sounds like everything quite the game here.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember if I've got a defender from Barcelona. No, I've got Koundé. Rubbish. Okay, guys, that's our hour mark. Let us know what you think to the wildcard. Guys, please drop a comment if you're watching on catch up. We'd love that. It really helps our algorithm out as well.
I'll answer. I'll reply. I'll be on there later on.
Oh, good, man. Right, we'll be back tomorrow with Big Man. I think probably around, I think it was midday last Wednesday. So I'm going to assume it's midday again, although our producer might tell us in the chat in the next 30 seconds. If not, then assume it's midday. If not, we tweet otherwise. Oh, it's 2. So that, well, yeah, it was probably going to be 2 then. We'll see you soon. Guys, thanks for watching. Hit the buttons on the way out, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.